the key question leading into the season? Dad, what is the key question leading into the season?
Okay, and this is important. My teacher used to say, pay attention. This is important. There is only one key question, and the key question is, do the 49ers have a quarterback? That's the question about the team. Now, I want, Iggy, first of all, do you agree?
Respectfully, well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay,
To
let me
me,
hear.
go ahead.
No,
To me,
let me hear.
I just have so much. I know he's a quarterback. He's important. He's young. He's unproven. I've seen him practice a lot. I have much more confidence that he's an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo than the offensive line being good enough. My question is the offensive line terrible? I don't know. That's
Okay.
my question. But they're both questions, honestly.
Okay, I'm going to say something. Your thing about the offensive line may be equally important to the quarterback, but it's not as sexy. Fair
That's
enough?
true. That's true.
I'm going to go with the
Let's
sexy.
stick with the sexy topic first.
I'm going to do the sexy topic.
Go sexy.
Because the quarterback is really important. And what you want to say is, we're going into the season with Steve Young. Mm-hmm. We're going in with Brett Favre, okay? Mm-hmm. Here's who the Niners are going in with. A complete unknown.
Yep.
They don't know about him. Kyle doesn't know about him, in spite of what Kyle says.
That's true.
The kid doesn't know about himself. And we don't know about him. Iggy, at this point, he is a question mark. Mm-hmm. And if fans are angry at me, I'm sorry. I'm not rooting. I'm telling you what I see. Trey Lance could turn into a superstar. Mahomes. He could be sort of an average quarterback like Jimmy, or he could be a bust. I'm not saying that he'll be any of those three, but we don't know. And we'll know somewhere in the season, probably in the first 3 or 4 games. Right now, and all through training camp, we're going to know Jack. That's what we're going to know.
And I think that's why this season, in a sense, to me, feels like the most eagerly anticipated season ever, or at least in my professional lifetime. No one knows what Trey Lance is going to look like, including him, including his coaches, his teammates. They've seen him in practice, but that's not the same thing. And he's going from like junior varsity college football to the NFL. Yeah. Remember when Derek Carr was young? And he's a very talented quarterback, but he went from Fresno State, bigger school than North Dakota State. Wasn't the book on him that he would be a little jittery early in game because he just wasn't used to the NFL stage? It was a big deal for him. He had to settle down.
And he was a little jittery.
Kyle Juszczyk said today about Trey, like his first start against Houston, that was a must-win game. He was a little jittery. He was a little not so great early on, and then when he finally got the touchdown, he said that he could hear Trey talking to himself in the end zone, saying, "I needed to get that one off my back. I needed to get that."
I love it.
Yeah,
I love Juszczyk. If I were covering the team, boy, would I want to know him.
Oh, he's the best because he constantly answering questions about other people with insight, and he's generous about it.
Nice. And he also pays attention.
Yes, he does. Yes,
he could be a writer, Iggy.
He could be. Absolutely. No question.
So look.
So hold on. Let's stick with the key question. To me, if this is the only question the Niners face, they're in store for a very good year, because I've seen this kid play, and I know it's possible that he'll be one thing in practice and it's a mirage and he'll be a total failure in games, but I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that wasn't Jimmy. Jimmy was actually better in games. He was awful in practices, and he would somehow do better in games. I think just based on he's a competitor. We'll see if this kid is too. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you this. I said that's the biggest question. And we can get to the offensive line. In your gut, how do you think Trey will perform this coming season? I.e., how good will he be?
I think he'll throw for 26, 27 touchdowns. I think he'll throw like maybe 10, 11 picks. I think his stats are going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good. I don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowler necessarily, but remember what Russell Wilson looked like when he was young? They ran the ball a lot, but he would give you big plays. I think it's going to be like that. I think he's going to be mature. I don't think he's going to be turning the ball over a lot. I think he's going to be handing off a lot, running a lot, but when he does throw, there's going to be a lot of big plays, and it's going to be exciting. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be better than Alex Smith, better than Colin Kaepernick. I think he's going to be really good. And I think he's got a really good team around him. Just question, like, he's not replacing a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's replacing a game manager. The left guard's replacing – they had a Pro Bowl left guard last year. He's gone. They had a Pro Bowl center last year. He's gone. McGlinchey's coming back off a serious injury. Those are huge question marks. Are the Niners downgrading massively in 3 spots? I don't think they're downgrading at quarterback. I really feel that the Jimmy Garoppolo level is – that's a very – if that's a hurdle, you could just walk over it. I'm sorry.
No, I love what I love what you're saying, and I think part of what you're saying is if he's as good, Trey Lance, as you think he's going to be, the Niners not only will succeed, but they'll be fun to watch.
Yes, absolutely. And also, if he's just as good as Jimmy, they're a good team. If he's better than Jimmy, which I argue is a low bar, they could be a Super Bowl contender. As long as their offensive line isn't awful. You don't have to have a great offensive line, but if it's awful, all it takes is one hit and Trey Lance is out. I mean, we saw that with Steve Young when he played. He got hit a lot. He got concussions. Saying. We saw with Andrew Luck. He didn't make it to 30. So it's important. But I still think the Niners have shown they can get at least solid offensive linemen. If the offensive line is solid and this guy is as good as I think he is, then this team could win a lot of games. They do have a very difficult schedule. They got to play all those AFC West teams. It's tough. We'll see.
You know, listening to the presser today, I got the feeling from both of them that although the offensive line is not currently set, they feel they have talent at every position. That's what I got. Do you agree with that?
Well, they always say that on the first day of training camp, right? I would think. But yeah, I think also they're feeling maybe we could make another move. We'll give these guys a shot, and if they don't work out, there's always a trade you could make, especially if they eventually get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. If eventually they could do stuff.
If they get rid of Jimmy, they have more money.
I would think, yeah, that's the equation. That's why we're so surprised that he's still here, but there's time.
So Iggy, McGlinchey, he's still rehabbing. Would you consider him the number one option at right tackle?
Yeah. If it's not him, it's like someone who started fewer than 8 games, excuse me. Fewer. But hold on, let's come back to the key question of the season. So I've seen Trey Lance. I said they should draft him. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm too close to it. Just from far away, like, do you feel like, how confident are you that the Niners have the answer to this question?
Of Trey?
If they have a quarterback this year.
I don't think they know. I'm entirely, now here's what you have to say. You have seen Trey Lance throw a lot. I haven't. So really my opinion is not as weighty as yours, Iggy. But my opinion is they don't have the slightest idea. And they won't know maybe for the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
So in that regard, we're disagreeing.
Yeah.
My
impression of Trey Lance is that he's like a super Alex Smith. His mentality is like Alex Smith. He's earnest. He works very hard. He's going to improve. He's going to be honest about his weaknesses and work on them forever. He's not like Jimmy. What I didn't like about Jimmy and Colin was their complacency. Like Jimmy was constantly smiling. Colin was constantly defensive about, needing to work on XYZ. And I felt like they didn't improve. Alex Smith did improve. And I think Trey Lance will improve. But the difference between them is that Alex Smith, while he was a good athlete, Trey Lance is a great athlete. Alex Smith was a decent downfield thrower. I think Trey Lance is going to be a hell of a downfield thrower with a really strong arm. So that doesn't mean he'll be a Hall of Fame. It doesn't mean he'll be Steve Young. But if he's a super Alex Smith, that's a good quarterback. It's better than Jimmy.
Iggy, another issue with Alex Smith, and we ought to say this, and maybe you can address this with Trey. Alex was too cautious.
Yes.
A coach once said to me, the question with Alex Smith isn't can he throw it, it's will he throw it? Will he throw it? And Iggy, you saw a lot of times he had open receivers and ate the ball.
Yes. And, Steve Young was talking about Trey Lance recently, and he said one of the things, he's a perfectionist, and sometimes that can, too much of any good thing can be a bad thing. And he didn't name Alex Smith specifically. He mentioned Carson Wentz and Mitchell Trubisky, but that was Alex Smith. He was a perfectionist to a fault, had to be perfect. And I guess that's what Steve Young thinks of Trey right now. Is like, don't be Alex Smith, because I wasn't. And the one thing, if you like Jimmy G, is that he has no conscience. He'll throw a pick, doesn't care, come right back. I mean, He's not a perfectionist at all. At all.
No, and that's one of his best qualities.
It is one of his best qualities. I think he goes a little too far with it sometimes.
Okay.
But yes, it is one of his best qualities. Ivan says it got a little awkward when Kyle and John were asked if they still wanted to back up with the same style as their starter. Yeah, it was funny. Scott Osler asked that question. I felt like he was trying to ask, like he was gonna follow up with, "Why don't you sign Colin Kaepernick?" But he didn't. And what Kyle said, which he's very smart. He said, "Yeah, if I had a quarterback who I wanted to design, a running offense around, then yes. But I don't look at Trey that way. I don't look at Trey as a running quarterback. I look at Trey as a quarterback who can use his legs if the first and second option aren't open." So that was illuminating. That's how I look at him too.
I didn't know that Scott asked that question because I couldn't hear the questions.
Oh, well, he did. Guaranteed Colin Cowherd doubles down on Lance. Apparently a little, I think this is true. Trey Lance was dating Colin Cowherd's daughter before the draft. So there may be some backstory here. I don't know. Hard to say.
Iggy, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who's Colin Cowherd?
Oh, he's one of these guys. He talks about sports. He doesn't go to the games per se, but he has a really strong take about all the teams and all the sports in the country, which is remarkable. He knows them all very well, apparently.
Okay, so that's who he is?
Yeah. He's one of these guys who talks about sports. All right. That's who he is.
Okay. I'll have to check him out sometime.